Hey, Gabriel Blake.
Hey, Gabriel Jose.
Where are we today?
You're going to think I'm making this up, but I'm under yet another atmospheric river. I literally got drenched walking 4 blocks home from work, and I had an umbrella.
But it's like we are not recording on the same day. This is not like a double feature. Yeah.
This is just my new life here, the new normal in San Francisco.
But yeah, hopefully it is also raining in the mountains.
It is. It's snowing like crazy. Tahoe's just completely covered. It's
nice.
Very good for the state. I get it.
Okay.
And also the landlord fixed the holes in my roof. So in this atmospheric river, there's no leaks.
Oh, that's amazing. Yeah, congratulations for that.
Thank you.
Yeah, and here it's still cold. We're still in the winter in Chicago, 41 degrees right now. But tolerable. I think that is tolerable. Better than what? Yeah. But yeah, what did we watch this time?
This was 100% your pick. You picked the 1997 Paul Verhoeven film. I like how it could go either way. It could either be my favorite movie or a movie I hate. The 1997 film Stormtroopers.
Starship Troopers, dude. We even discussed it earlier. But yeah, this was my pick. The reason why I pick it is twofold. Is that one of them is that there is this video game that we are playing that is pretty clearly inspired by Starship Troopers. It's basically Starship Troopers, the video game. Albeit they are video games based on Starship Troopers. And the other one, and I was curious to actually rewatch the movie and just see how it has aged by today's standard. The second reason why I wanted to watch it is because when it came out, well, a couple of years after it came out, people at my dorm in college, they were telling me about how amazing that movie was. And I remember I didn't watch it because it looked super campy and stupid. So why I didn't want to watch it. So they were playing it one day on TV and I didn't watch the first half. I only watched the second half and I felt I think that I know what he's trying to do, but it doesn't land for me. So I always left the pin it on the side. That is, maybe it's because I didn't watch it
all the way through until this time.
So I was curious about what about if now as a grown-up adult, I actually sit down and I watch this. Is this going to be good? Is this going to be a mess?
And what are your thoughts?
I will tell you later, but as this was my pick, I guess that you have to summarize it.
I don't know how I'm going to summarize this mess of a script. I did read the New York Times review, but it was too long for me to read the whole thing, so I just read the last paragraph. And whoever the critic was had a line that I'm not going to say it as well as he did, but he says, there isn't much coherence, but that doesn't seem to be the point of the film. Okay. So the film takes place in the 23rd century, and Earth is governed by the United Citizens Federation, which is basically a militaristic regime that was founded by, they don't really explain much, I'm sure they do in the book.
Yeah.
But they just say that it was founded by veterans hundreds of years earlier, right? After society was brought to the brink of extinction.
Yeah.
So, go ahead.
No, I was going to say that something interesting is that it's militaristic, but also at the same time, it is not totalitarian, at least not openly, because they even mention that there are elections, that there are votes, that you can vote, but you have to be a citizen for voting, and you have to go to the army, serve in the army, for actually being able to vote.
Yeah, so the only way you can vote or procreate is you have to serve this I don't know, fascist regime. And it is clearly fascist, but weirdly we root for them in a weird way. So humans are now space traveling, and they're going throughout the galaxy and colonizing other planets. And liberating, yes. They're bringing democracy to these other planets. Yeah. But they come into contact with a highly evolved alien life form that looks like spiders that had radiation, like enormous killer bugs that seem feral, but could they be smart? I don't know. We'll find out.
Yeah. Well, I mean, the thing is that they are very 70s likes. I was even debating, watching with my boyfriend, and I was like, I think that these special effects, they feel like a stop animation in some times.
Yeah, some are not good, but some are good.
Yeah.
And I remember thinking, wow, this is like really advanced effects for a movie that came out in the 80s. And so
90s, 97.
It blew my mind to just pull up the IMDb page and this was in 1997.
Well, but the funny thing is, like, if you watch other movies by Paul Verhoeven, like during that time, like, what was it, like Total Recall, RoboCop?
Yeah.
It's not that different, you know. He used also like a stop animation, stop photographs, you know, like you remember, did you watch RoboCop?
I sure as fuck did not.
No? Okay. That explains many things here. But yeah, the special effect, the style of those special effects are very similar in between those movies. He had a style during that time.
I did read on the Wikipedia page that Paul Verhoeven absolutely did not want to use the in-studio special effects teams. He wanted to go outside, and the studio said, "We will not fund your movie unless you use all of our internal resources." And he was never happy with the special effects. So,
interesting. Okay.
Paul Verhoeven has a taste level, apparently.
Apparently. I mean, he directed Benedetta and Hell too, so
I know.
I don't know.
Yeah. I thought that's a great film. Anyway.
Sure.
So that's the setup, that's the context, and then we dive into a high school love story where John, blonde, you know, all-American jock named Johnny Rico, except he's not American, he's actually Argentinian, despite there's no way he's Argentinian, but besides his parents live there and he has the last name Rico, whatever.
Yep. And I love that it's like every single character, well, except Neil Patrick Harris, all of them, they have like one name or two names that they are Spanish, but none of them is Latino by any means.
This is the whitest cast, unless you die early on in the movie, then there's plenty of diversity.
Yep.
So we meet Johnny. Johnny really wants to join the Federation. His parents don't want him to. It's kind of looked down upon, and they don't want him to die. But he's like, no, I'm gonna go and deliver democracy or whatever. He has a girlfriend named.
Well, he goes for his girlfriend.
Oh, really? He just went to follow her?
Yeah, because you remember, like, when they're in the dance, it's like she's actually saying like, oh yeah, I'm going to go, you know. And I think that the other guy, the other pilot, is there, and he's like, and he is in uniform, and he's like, oh my god, if I don't go, it's like she's going to be like sworn away by someone else. She
was stolen away by a pilot in uniform. So Johnny Rico knows what's up.
Yep.
So we meet. He has this girlfriend played by Denis Richards, this very bizarre role for Neil Patrick Harris where he's psychic and barely there.
They never like develop him. It's a bit more about like he's seeing 4 scenes at the beginning. We think that maybe like the telepathic thing is going to be a big thing, and it's like, no.
There's one scene.
Yep. That's it.
And then there's Dizzy, who is, I can't remember the actress's name, but she wants to join the Federation, but she's in love with Johnny Rico, so she transfers to his unit, blah, blah, blah. And then we just see how they kind of progress in the Federation, and I don't know how much detail you want to go into here, because a lot of shit happens, like Johnny Rico gets a guy killed in training, so he resigns, and he calls his parents to say, I'm coming home, but then his parents, while they're on the video call, get hit by an asteroid. That the spiders sent from their home planet to punish America, and there's a lot of
the planet. I understand that you are like talking about like totalitarian regime, you know, but it's not America. It's like to just punish the planet.
Yeah. Did I say punish America?
Yes.
Oh, that's my ethnocentrism. America is Earth.
Okay. This is the only thing.
So his girlfriend Denise Richard falls in love with her teacher and At some point, Johnny Rico is reported as dead after being ambushed by the spiders. And then there's a super. I'm not going to go into this. It's the most ridiculous plot.
Look, I think that it's just fine. It's like the first act is like high school life, like completely worry-free. The second act is the training, that is like basically the training of Full Metal Jacket.
Yep.
And then the third act is like the horrors of war, but through a video game lens.
But also never really moving on from the high school drama of
Nope.
like this love triangle. This film was all over the place. It didn't know what it wanted to be because it could have been super campy so in the final scene they capture the smart spider, the smart arachnid, and they make a hilarious propaganda commercial about how they're investigating it and you can help the Federate or whatever. And the tone of that was so good and so campy. I was like, why the fuck wasn't this in the rest of the film?
Well, truth is, the first thing is that actually they have a couple of ads across the movie, like a sprinkle across the movie, that they have the same tone.
Like have a tone.
No, correct. And the second thing is that when I watched it originally, and I remember like it ends up with that, I felt it's like, oh, okay, I see what he's trying to do. But I don't think that the rest of the movie that I watched, like the other 30 minutes that I watched, is that really conveys this tone, because then I'm thrown into something that I don't know if it's serious, if it's campy on purpose, if it's like I'm supposed to be sarcastic. What I was telling to my boyfriend is that, hey, if you want to make this as a, I don't know, like sarcastic perspective about like totalitarian regimes, a militaristic center of mode of thinking like the United States, is like, great, go for it. But it's like when you are like putting it in a way that it almost feels like you're exaltating that at the same time, I have no idea like what to take out of this.
Yeah, I read that the reception in 1997 is people just came out and said this is a Nazi film, like a pro-Nazi film. This is fascist. Nobody understood that it was supposed to be like a commentary, about fascism, because he couldn't tell the joke. He couldn't effectively as a director. I didn't know what film I was watching.
Well, but the thing is, I was reading about it, and it's like, okay, true, is that this has become a bit of a old classic over time, but what about the book? And it looks like the book is a bit more serious about like the conundrums that he is presenting as a, hey, what about a society that is like completely militarized and only like people that they have an involvement with military has a voice? Is like how this would translate, and is like how this society would actually translate into an expansive, like, let's dominate the whole universe. Because these insects is like, I don't think that they are like truly threatening Earth. And there is even like just comments that someone says that, hey, what about if they're like trying to communicate with us? What about if we can communicate with them? And it's just like, no, that's stupid. That's insulting, even like that concept. They are like close just because of multiple generations that they got to the point of the only way is the brute force. So the book was, I read like some reviews and they were like, yeah, it can feel a bit right-winged in some of the ideas that they are like trying to present, because it doesn't condemn them as something bad. And at the end, you have like the same narrative through the book. It looks like Paul Verhoeven, I don't know how this project ended up on him, but he hated the book. He actually felt that this is fascist propaganda. So he actually decided to just take it with a bit of a, hey, I'm going to be like just doing a parody of what the original book was. It's like, I'm going to be like, it's not so much about reality, it's more about like just making a parody of the book. So that commentary at the end, I had the feeling that, hey, it doesn't materialize as much unless you read the book and probably you hated it. Because I don't think that it has like enough hooks with reality for just being like 100% a commentary with that word. That I think that RoboCop is way better as commentary. And yes, I said it.
RoboCop.
Dude, I went to watch it like some months ago and I was like, okay, this is super campy, super 80s, but it's like just talking about corporations taking over like the police force and how this is going to go insane. It's not bad.
The Casper Theater just closed for renovations, but like it only closed a week or two ago, and one of the last films they showed was RoboCop.
I'm not going to make you watch it. I think that I already pushed it. I already pushed it quite a bit with the Starship Trooper, but when I went to watch it, I just felt like this. I laugh out loud several times about like, okay,
because it's like purposely outrageously ridiculous.
Yeah.
See, like I said, with that final commercial, I saw a glimmer of what Paul Verhoeven could have done, and
Yeah.
if he created a really campy exaggeration of whatever he's trying to make, I would be into it. I guess Showgirls is kind of that, except that was also unintentional.
That wasn't intentional. So no one knew that it was going to be that exaggerated. But now Robocop tries to be like hyper violent, but it's a bit more like what action movies in the 80s were. So it's a bit more about like making almost like a commentary about other action movies, like just pushing it too far, like hyper violent.
I think that I really did think this was a movie from the 80s, and I was trying to think why, and I think it must have just been the style of the action. Also, I love how at some point a guy just gets a giant spider claw right up into his asshole. I was like, Jesus Christ, Paul.
Yep. He doesn't have any measure, you know. Overall, you sent me like a picture when you were watching it, or your husband sent me about like he's like watching it. He's like, yeah, he's not enjoying it that much. But overall, was it painful to watch?
I in the third act, I got bored. There was a lot of action, a lot of testosterone, a lot of confusing storylines that I actually had to rewind and be like, what just happened? Which, to be fair, the fact that I was rewinding shows that I was interested enough to not gloss over it.
Yeah.
But I thought that you really liked this film. I don't know why. I'm sure you told me you hadn't seen it all the way through, but I was like, nah, if he likes this film, I really want to watch it. It wasn't painful, and there were some... Oh God, you made me watch Denise Richard try and act for 2 hours.
Poor thing. I was just thinking, it's like this woman did like, what was it? Wild Animal? What's it called? Wild Animal? Or Wild Things?
I don't remember, but wasn't she a Bond girl?
She was? Okay, she was in Wild Things with Neve Campbell and Matt Dillon. Let's not forget about that. That was like her peak of a sex symbol. And oh yeah, the wall is not enough.
And she plays a nuclear scientist.
Oh God.
It was fine. So you and I, we've mentioned this before. We try not to talk about the movies we watched beforehand, but I did text you like 30 minutes in, and I said this might be one of the worst things we've ever watched. I'll take that back. Brazil is much worse, but it's okay. It's fine.
It's fine. Funny enough, when I was talking with my boyfriend about this and telling him, it's like he said that it's like one of the worst things. Like, do you think that is the worst thing that you have made him watch? He's like, no. I think that the thing that he hated the most, not the worst thing, was Brazil. Not that, not actually like the worst thing. I made you watch like way worse stuff than this. I have to say that the problem for me is that, funny enough, is like Robocop has the same format of they have like 3 breaks across the movie where they actually do like random ads or random like TV shots, you know, like TV series that they actually create fictional for just presenting how society works. I wish that this had more of the world building and less of the action against.
I was actually interested in the Earth, like the way that the parents didn't want him to go into the military. Like I was like, this is kind of an interesting world.
Yeah,
I would have liked that too.
Yeah, and also it's like if this is such a totalitarian regime, and I know that I may be reading like too much into it, but if it's such a militaristic totalitarian regime, how come the parents of Rico, that we don't know if they did serve or not, is that they are so rich?
Yeah, and how did they, if they were not citizens, how did they get to procreate?
Yeah, because they sounded like they are not part, or they were never part of the military. It's that they don't support it whatsoever.
So I know this is supposed to be somewhat a retelling of World War II. Did you get the impression that destroying Argentina was the equivalent of the Japanese bombing Pearl Harbor?
Yep.
And that enraged Earth, and so everyone had to go fight and kill March fighters.
Well, The thing is, I think that they actually mentioned that an asteroid had hit the Earth before, because in one of the first like commercials, they say that they stop like another asteroid from hitting the Earth.
The Federation did, or whatever it's called.
Yeah. Because they were saying like one of these like enlist now, and they were showing like a space station like just shooting like an asteroid.
Yeah, I don't know. None of this made sense. And also the fact that the 3 high school friends ended up at the smart bug on planet P.
Yep. Like a bit forced, you know. I had a feeling that he may have taken like some cues from the book, and maybe this is like the kind of thing that over 500 pages, this maybe you just ignore it, you know. But in a 2-hour movie, it's a bit more of a dude. You can just rethink the material. If you want to make like this satirical commentary, it's like just rethink the whole thing. It's like just drop the act of high school life, super happy, and just go like full into this is about the life on Earth. And then it's like they go to the planet and they get completely annihilated. And I stop there. Maybe that's like good enough.
Do you think that if he hated the book and was somehow being forced to direct this, that he was trying to like shit on the book purposely?
A part of me thinks that it may be part of
Me
that.
too. I was like, oh, he just really doesn't respect this.
Yep, yeah. And I don't know if the author, let me just check it, but it's like, I don't know if the author actually was still alive when the movie came out, because it would be interesting to just hear his opinion about like, what the fuck happened here.
Well, now I want to know if the author of Dune was alive when David Lynch shat all over it.
Frank Herbert, I don't remember if Frank Herbert was alive. Probably. He died in 86, and oh yeah, he was in 84. Maybe that's what killed him.
It probably gave him cancer.
Yeah. At 65 years old. So, should we go over the questions?
I just feel like there's more to say to criticize this film. It's a pity because it wasn't good enough to be pleasurable to watch, but it wasn't bad enough to be pleasurable to watch that it's so bad, like Showgirls.
Yeah, I mean, as I knew what I was getting into, you know, is like we watched it high, and it didn't improve.
Oh, I should have watched it high.
Yeah, I was like really hoping, and actually my boyfriend told me this, like I watched it like multiple times for many reasons, and it's like it's enjoyable, especially if you're high, but it still felt like, yeah, I expect more Showgirls and more absurd stuff, more beyond that. But I had the feeling as this is a bit more of a ton of stuff trying to be combined into something that I don't think that even the director has a clear idea what it is. It doesn't land 100%. So.
Sorry if you shared this, but what did your boyfriend think?
He was okay. He was like a bit surprised that we selected it for watching it, because he was like, yeah, this is not good quality film, good quality cinema.
He's listened to almost our entire podcast. He knows we pick shitty films from time to time.
Yeah, but I mean, we try to, when we pick things, there is always some kind of artistic value associated with them. And he's like, this is the third Paul Verhoeven film that we watched? No, the fourth.
I think we love to hate him more than Lars.
I was thinking about it if at some point we should actually watch more like Paul Verhoeven, like going through his whole filmography, because he has a lot of stuff.
And he does, all joking aside, I really did like Elle. It was more of a guilty pleasure, sure, but I thought Bernadetta was a great film.
Sure.
Also, I got a new job recently, and there's a woman there named Bernadette, and I don't say her name without thinking about Bernadetta and the dildo crucifix. Oh
my god, the Virgin Mary dildo is, yeah, top notch, top Verhoeven notch. But yeah, let's go over the questions. Maybe you can think about like other ways of criticizing along the way. Would you watch it again?
I really wouldn't. There's not a situation I can imagine where I would watch this. Even if it was on TV, it would be so censored that I wouldn't want to watch it then.
Or do you think that it would be censored? Oh, well, in network TV, yes, definitely. Because there is that co-ed sour scene.
There were so many tits in this movie. I mean, not that many, but I pay attention because they offend me when they appear. I'm like, oh.
What are the dicks?
Military guys showering? This should be sexy.
Yep,
There's women.
What is going on? And they're not having like a huge orgy. I just feel it's like, wow, this is truly the future. It's like men and women can be taking like a shower, like hot people like next to each other. It's like, no, nothing happens.
When were women allowed into the American military? I asked that specifically because the critic for the New York Times wrote about how insane it was to talk about a co-ed army.
Probably not at that time. I just think that is like probably that was like, well, not even the 90s. I would have expected it.
But they led women in the army, but they were not allowed to fight on the front lines. That's a more recent thing. So maybe that's what he was referring to.
To fight on the front line. Let me just check. 2013.
Yeah, that's a brand new thing.
Wow. When the first Secretary Leon Panetta lifted the Pentagon's 1994 ban on women in direct ground combat roles. It wasn't until 2016 that women were eligible for every combat job.
Wow.
Equality. That was like the part of the Fed is that, okay, that's an interesting twist on that wall. And I don't know if you realize that when Rico, I think that is Rico, like walking out of the shower, is that there is like a woman that slaps his ass.
I did appreciate that. Thank you, Paul.
That's angle. I don't think that I would actively watch it again, but I don't think that I would be actively avoiding it either.
I feel like we're in the same ballpark here.
Yeah. I didn't hate it as much for saying like, hey, I never want to see a photogram of this. It didn't infuriate me about like how bad it was. It was more like, I wish that this has been better.
Is Paul Verhoeven gay? Because there was a lot of homoeroticism, which you can't get away from entirely in any war film. But that scene where they stretch him out on like the crucifix and they whip his back, I was like, this is like every time I go to Mistress Leather, this is like every guy's wet dream. I
actually told that to my boyfriend. I told him, he's like, hey, I have the feeling that this camp right now has moved to Dory Alley. I'm not sure if actually he is gay or not. Personal life, let me just check. Married Martin Tours, with whom he has 2 daughters. So no, I don't think so.
No.
So, he has been married to the same woman from 1967. Good for him.
Oh, good for them. I did take down one quote from a critic I forgot to read that I want to read to you, because I feel like it describes the film perfectly. I don't remember the critic. Oh, Berardinelli said that at its best, Starship Troopers replicates the thrills of Aliens, while emulating Beverly Hills 90210 in its worst moments.
That's perfect.
Yeah, I was like, that is the most succinct description that I read.
Yeah, and it actually is aligned with what we're discussing, about like this like high school drama mixed up with something that doesn't mess with each other. So yeah. Would you recommend it?
I mean, if someone said, hey, I saw Showgirls and RoboCop and I really liked it. No, I would not recommend this.
I will ask first, like, what is wrong with you? But I had to say that is that when I was little, one of my favorite movies ever was actually Total Recall.
Like, it was legitimately your favorite, or your favorite campy film?
No, I mean, back then I didn't understand like the difference between like campy and not campy. It's like that movie's from 90? It's like, it was 10 years old. It was more about like when I watched it, it was like, oh my god, there is a woman with 3 tits and it's super hyper violent. That's how confused I was.
Wow. Now I kind of want to watch it. Wait, that's not the movie where like demons enter into a spaceship, is it?
No, that's Event Horizon. We watched that
I
one.
can never remember the name of that film.
Yeah, no, Total Recall is the one of Arnold Schwarzenegger that is in Mars, and there is like this thing of they give him like a vacation, like rewriting memories in his brain, but it turns out that it triggers something else. And that's as far as I can.
Say no more. I might want to watch it, especially if it was your favorite film.
Only if we watch Magnolia after that.
I would love that.
I don't know about that, you know. Yeah, I don't think that I would recommend it. You know, is that even if I think about someone asking me about like, hey, can you tell me about a movie where people kill a lot of bugs? I would say is that look, just play Helldivers.
I would say so. We played Helldivers. Well, yes, we already mentioned that, but
Yeah.
it was way more entertaining than this movie.
Well, because he knows what it is, you know, is that you have like the trailer for just like depicting the absurd of that world, and then
They
it's like
have
just
the tone down. This is the tone Paul Verhoeven should have had.
yeah. And then it's that they actually have like that buying into for democracy and for freedom, you know. But beyond that, it's like it's a good game. Is that the gameplay is good, you know. It's like it's enticing not because of the absurd of what they're representing, it's because the gameplay is fun, you know. In this case, it's more like okay, you have like such a disjointed film that if there was more overlap into it's about depicting an absurd world and we're going to be like doing it all the time, it's fine, but it's like so grounded in some of the military concepts that I just felt it's like, is this trying to be selling it or putting it in a better light or not? I don't know where it lands.
Yeah.
So no, I wouldn't recommend it. I think that they are like better movies, maybe not exactly about this, you know, but then play it again if that's what you want to see. Would you remember it?
I'll say probably. Oh yes, I'll remember enough about it.
Yeah, I have forgotten. I remember like the ads at the end that is like they capture like that brain bag or whatever, but I have forgotten that at the end, Denis Richards survive along the other two. Sorry, spoiler alert. A lot
Also,
of that.
that was the most sexualized spider. Like it was just a combination of a penis and vagina. Like,
Yep.
Deeply. I watched part of this at work, and I was like, "No, we gotta get that off the screen."
Is there anything artistic about Starship Troopers?
What a impossible question to answer.
I'm going to answer it for you. I'm going to go with no.
Yeah, I can't pinpoint anything. Certainly not the acting, not the directing, not the special effects.
I was debating on the special effects, but it's like, as you said, is that they feel from the 80s. I was even like telling my boyfriend, is that dude, they are like some of these special effects that I think that Star Wars in the 70s were better than these.
I will say that somebody seemed to have pretty good taste in music. Like there were a few like cool popular songs that just popped up, and I was like, "Wow, this is awesome."
But would you call that artistic?
Nope.
Then let's just move on. Is it a timeless piece?
I mean, shit stays shit forever. So yes, it's timeless. I don't know. We've been having that discussion about it.
Yeah.
It feels like it's from the 80s. I don't.
Yeah, I'm a bit torn about that because it feels like from the 80s the special effects feel aged even by then, you know. But also at the same time, it's like the topic feels a bit timeless, you know. Even like the technology that they have is that, yeah, of course, is like some of the stuff when he's having like that tablet. Is that, yeah, I think that we're a bit beyond that. But overall, it's not bad. You know, it's a bit more like, you know, it's from that time. It was done like from the 80s to the 2000s.
I mean, colonization and genocide will always be timely, unfortunately.
Timeless, you mean?
Yeah, that's what I meant. Sorry, timeless.
Yeah. So from that perspective, that the topics are still valid. So, would you turn into a TV show?
The only reason I'm hesitating is because I would turn it into a video game. So, but no, I don't think so. Well, I'm gonna say no with the caveat that after I read the book, maybe I'll be like, oh yeah, this could be a great TV show.
I'm going to go with no because of the quote that you read me earlier, and I had the feeling that this would turn even more into Beverly Hills 90210.
Especially if they kept like Denise Richards.
Yeah, so I don't think that there is like a way of actually making a TV show that it doesn't become even worse than what it is.
Yeah, I agree. No for me.
Could this have been a short?
Yes. Yeah, I think they could have cut an awful lot out.
Yeah, I agree. I think that it's like if it was more focused into one thing, it would have been better. If it was like, like the story of Neil Patrick Harris on Earth. It's just like that. 30 minutes. That's it.
That end scene where Neil Patrick Harris comes out and touches the brain.
He's afraid.
He's afraid.
Yeah.
Oh, and then, oh my god, the line when Diz gets stabbed and she's like, I'm dying, Johnny. It's okay because I had you, because they fucked once, and I was like, are you kidding?
Uh-huh. Yep. He's like super hormonated teenagers. Yep. Going wild.
It's for children. This is a movie for children.
The part that you said that he's afraid and when everyone goes crazy, I like it from the perspective. It's like, oh, so you guys could communicate with them, and it's like, and you're celebrating that is afraid of you. Is that there is no intent on your side now that you can confirm that maybe you can communicate with them to actually try to solve this in any other way that is not full eradication, full genocide.
Well, they do study it. Oh yeah, for the purposes of eradication. That's why they're studying. Yeah.
But in any case, I think that it could have been a short. And do you think that this movie could have been better?
Well, certainly. There's a long list of things. No, I mean, I think all the elements are there, but I think this one falls on Paul himself, where he just needed to understand what he was making and focus on that. It's just a tone for me.
Yeah. No, it's the same thing for me. It's a bit more about like, this is one of those times that taking a step back and just thinking what do you want to do with this movie would have helped you to build from there. Is that even if you're adapting a book, put the book aside, and then just think about like what kind of a story do you want to do. Similar to, and I'm not saying that it's a good movie, Annihilation.
Which one?
Annihilation. That Alex Garland took the original book and he says like, you know what? I have the feeling that the next books are going to be garbage. So I'm going to be like, touching the story to just like close it in a slightly different way.
But at least the film was extremely true to how much of a mess the book was.
That's true.
Because the book also had no idea how to end itself.
Nope. And ending with 2 more books was not the answer. Was not the right answer. Let's just go with that. It's funny because it's like, I'm sorry, this is like completely off topic, but I read them during the pandemic. At the beginning of the pandemic, I tried to commit with myself of, hey, I want to go back to read more often. I read a couple of books, and then I started reading Annihilation. I moved to just listen the audiobook, and then I listened to the other 2 audiobooks, and then I stopped altogether.
Reading?
I already read enough. It's like, if this is what I'm exposing myself to, I'd rather stop here.
Just out of curiosity, did you read them in Spanish?
No, I read in English. I mean, I listened to them in English.
Yeah.
So, should we score this?
Sure. I don't know how. I don't know.
With a number.
I would give this a 3.5.
Okay. My score is a 4.
Alright, we feel about the same.
Yeah, it's just, the more that I talk about it, the more I feel it's like, this is not even like, meh. It's a bit below, meh. It's more of a, I'm going to say something, but I think that this is like Paul Verhoeven's Wild at Heart. Of a project that it didn't fit.
Love to hate Wild at Heart.
It's a project that is like, look, this was not for this director. This was for a different one. He tried.
And it's not like there weren't good action directors working in the late 90s, so what
Yep.
the hell?
Yeah, this could have been. Who do you think that it would have done a good job?
The Wachowski sisters?
Oh yeah, that could be interesting. I was thinking about, but no, probably this wouldn't work because of the scale. I was thinking on John Woo.
You see?
Yeah.
That's a good option.
Yeah.
What if they just... Oh, did he have something to do with the beekeeper? I think he did.
The Beekeeper, John
Oh,
Woo.
no. There was a trailer for a new John Woo film before The Beekeeper.
Oh, gotcha. Yeah.
Or at least something he produced or something.
Gotcha. Oh my God. Yeah, he is still directing John Woo, but it doesn't look like he's been too successful in his last movies. Oh, interesting. So what are we watching next?
We're gonna pivot hard and watch an early Stanley Kubrick film, Lolita.
I'm looking forward to it. Have you ever watched it?
I've never seen it, but I read the book by Nabokov.
Okay, nice. Okay. I never watched it either, so I'm curious to just complete our Kubrick collection, almost.
Then we'll just have Barry Lyndon, which we'll never watch.
No, there are a couple of the really early ones too that we never watched.
Yeah, he had a lot of early
In
stuff.
black and white. Yeah.
He has like noir stuff in black
Yeah.
and white. Probably 50. Okay.
Yeah, I think that it was like a couple of those. Yeah. All right, man. Anything else to say about the Starship Troopers?
Nope. Just watch
We already
Lolita.
said enough. We already said enough. And to all of those people out there, thank you so much for putting up with us.
Until next time.
All right, bye.